You think of your body as yours, one genome, one person, grown from a single cell. It is one of the most basic things you believe about yourself. And it is not quite true. Living inside you right now are cells that are not yours. Cells carrying another person's DNA that crossed into your body and never left. Some are your mother's, and if you have ever carried a pregnancy, some are your child's, and a few may be in your brain. We picture a pregnancy as two separate bodies with a barrier between them. It isn't. The placenta is not a wall. It is a crossing, and it runs both ways. Cells from the fetus slip into the mother. Cells from the mother slip into the fetus. By birth, each is carrying a small population of the other's living cells. That would be a curiosity if the cells were quickly cleared. They are not. This is microchimerism. From the chimera, the mythical creature stitched together from more than one animal, and its defining feature is that the borrowed cells stay. In 1996, researchers found fetal cells still circulating in a woman's blood 27 years after she gave birth. Not leftover DNA, but living, stem-like cells that had made a home in her body for a quarter of a century. And they do not just float in the blood. Fetal cells have been found lodged in the mother's skin, liver, thyroid, and heart, migrating, settling, and in some tissues taking on the character of the organ around them, as if trying to become part of it. Then comes the finding that stops people cold. In 2012, scientists examined the brains of 59 women who had died, looking for one signature, the Y chromosome. A woman's own cells never carry a Y, so any male DNA in her brain had to come from someone else, from a son she had carried. They found it in most of them, 63%, male DNA scattered across multiple regions of the brain in women who had died in their 70s and beyond. The molecular trace of a son who began as a piece of a fetus, whose DNA crossed the placenta, traveled the bloodstream, slipped past the barrier that guards the brain, and was still there when she died, decades later. I have to be careful here because this is exactly where the science ends and the temptation to overreach begins. What that study found is that the DNA is present, whether it belongs to whole, living cells, whether they do anything at all to how she thinks or feels, none of that is known. And it rests on essentially one set of brains. Presence is not purpose. But the presence alone is astonishing. For most of history, most mothers carried a molecular trace of their children inside their own skulls, and no one knew. Now turn it around, because this is not only about mothers, it is about you. The traffic from child to mother also runs from mother to child, which means you very likely carry a population of your mother's cells, taken on before birth, and in some people, still there in adulthood. And here is the one place we have a fairly good idea what the cells are for. Your mother's cells appear to help train your developing immune system in the womb, teaching it what to tolerate. Your mother carried her mother's cells too. A pregnant woman may even pass a few cells from one child to the next, so a younger sibling could carry cells of an older one they have never met, something researchers have begun to find directly. You are not a single, sealed individual. You are the newest layer of a living archive, a small colony of everyone who came before you, folded quietly into your tissues. The obvious question is what these cells are for, and the honest answer is that we are still arguing about it. There is evidence they help. Fetal cells have been seen homing to sites of injury in the mother, to healing wounds and damaged hearts, like a repair crew that happens to share half her genes. Though in humans, that is mostly association. They show up where the damage is, but proving they did the mending is hard. There is also evidence they get caught up in harm. Microchimerism has long been linked to autoimmune diseases like scleroderma, where the body turns on tissue not quite its own, yet the same fetal cells appear in perfectly healthy women too, so a link is not a cause. Evolutionary biologists offer a framing that fits this mess better than friend or enemy. These cells have their own stake. The genes in a fetal cell are playing for the child's survival, which does not always align with the mother's. So her body may host cells quietly working an agenda of their own. It is a compelling idea, and it is exactly that, an idea the field is still testing, not settled fact. What survives all the uncertainty is the fact underneath it. The border of you is not the crisp line you imagine. Your body is not one person's territory. It is shared ground, seated with your mother, and if you have children, seated with them, each of you leaving living cells in the other that outlast the pregnancy by decades. You have spent your life certain you are one person, made of your own cells alone. You never were. You are a crowd, and some of it has been with you since before you were born.